You're watching And Now the Band. We're here with Stills from Drop Dead Gorgeous today. They have been, I mean, you guys released a new single last year, but you took, I mean, you guys didn't do anything for a number of years. How does it feel?
It's feels great. It's definitely weird, you know. Um we took about 15 years off, so coming back from that is definitely different, you know, I'm sure some bands do that, but for us it was very weird. Coming back into a scene that you've been away from for 15 years, it's like I don't even know, man. It's like it's like going back to
The evolution in the scene
yeah.
over
I'm
that
trying to think
15
of
years is,
yeah. I mean, it's like,
in,
have you ever seen the movie Blast from the Past or something?
mm-mm.
It's a really old movie, but it's like if you just you know go in a bunker for 15 years and then you just get out of that bunker and you see like everything has changed in those 15 years and you're still um where you were 15 years ago. That's kind of like how it was because we kept playing music, but we didn't like I in particular didn't really none of my projects were in the heavy scene. Like I kind of stepped away from that for 15 years and just like explored other things. So it's not like I was literally like had my head in the sand with music for 15 years, but as far as heavy music, I kind of just like stayed away from it. Unless it literally just like was right in my face. And then obviously, you know, sometimes you hear it, your friends are playing something, whatever. But coming back into it, it was just so weird. It's like, what kind of music do you write 15 years later? Like, do you want to just like pick up where you left off, or do you want to like reinvent yourself? Do you want to do a little of both? Like,
Which
you know,
I think you guys kind of touched, right? A little of what you were doing and added some new elements. I mean, the three singles are, in my mind, um, they're a lot. They have a lot more pop elements than the older music. Um, do you did you go into more like pop music?
I wouldn't necessarily say pop, but definitely alternative. I guess it's all relative. It would be considered. I mean, when I think of pop, I think of like
Taylor Swift and
Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber. Like, depends on what your definition of pop is. Definitely more singing, less no screaming in any of the projects I was in. Um, but it was still like in the alternative sphere of things. Um,
okay,
just because my voice always has somewhat of a punk or aggression to it, even if I'm singing. So, you know, even if I wanted to, I don't think I could actually enter the real pop world.
right,
But yeah, like more in the more, you know, no screaming, less heavy music, a lot of like electronic production, synthesizers and stuff like that. Which we did in Drop Dead, but it was just like kind of abandoned the heavy guitar riffs and um, you know,
yeah.
breakdowns and the screaming. So like yeah, it's like when you think about what you're gonna do and then you think you have a plan, but then it's also implementing it and being like, how do we, you know, when 15 years later, everybody's different, you know, like I don't know really any band, even if they've stayed active for 15 years, it sounds like they did 15 years before that.
Except for AC/DC,
Yes, there are some that like they stick their thing, they do their one thing very well, and they just that's all they like. They're so good at it, and
they
that's
nail it.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean. But like, um,
Well, I think it's really hard, like when you take a 15-year hiatus, and it seems like uh, from outside looking in, it it doesn't seem like there was like internal strife where you're like, fuck you, I hate you. It just kind of was what it was. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think when that happens and you take 15 years away, like you guys grow, the people grow as individuals, and it's gonna, however much you want to get back to that. there's going to be a new sound because you've grown musically, you've found new things that have helped like shape where you are today, you know?
Yeah, no, that's you. I mean, that's exactly kind of what we've experienced, like life changes, growth, just emotionally, just being a grown up, having kids, families, lived experiences. And then beyond that, the musical side of it, yeah, maturing musically. Um, it's there's something with our older music, we're all really young, so it was like it's not really something you can like repeat. Um, you just can't be 18 again. You can't be,
No,
I mean, our youngest members are 15. It's like, it's not something you can go, if you're 30 years old, it's really not possible to be like, all right, I'm going to be in the exact same frame of mind as when I was 18 years old. Um, so there's some of that. And I think you see that with a lot of those bands that kind of got their start early, you see their progression later on. It typically is a little different.
yeah,
And for me, all the bands I've always liked have like progressed. Like I don't really want a band that stays the same and sounds exactly the same because then it gets boring.
right.
So I mean, I get why like fans sometimes with bands will be like, man, I miss their old stuff, and that's fine. Like that's totally makes a lot of sense. I've been there with bands,
Sure.
but it's like
But
you can't go back
right.
necessarily. Like it's not really like you can just magically like, all right, our fans like our first record. So let's just magically, go back 15 years, be in the same, spot in life, the same spot musically, and somehow magically make culture the same as it was 15 years ago too. Because like things have just changed. Like everything has changed around us. So,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, it's all those things, right? And then, I think my favorite bands have always evolved.
mhm. Yeah.
The one that comes to mind, I guess, first for me is Deftones.
Yep.
Every album, you listen to any song off of any album and you know what era that band was in.
Hmm.
It no two albums sound the same, and that was, for me, like just like you, I don't want a band that stays the same forever because if that's the case, like why don't I just put on this one album and hit repeat?
Exactly. I completely agree. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough, like the metal core genre, which we kind of start off in, like the screamo metalcore genre. It's very easy to fall into that trap of just kind of repeat, you know, do one record, kind of make the next record kind of just the same. Um, and
Yeah,
like even if you go that route, you're eventually going to run into a wall where your fans want something different. So
yeah,
it's like it's almost like reverse psychology. If you want them to want something different and experimental, then give them the same thing over and over again until they finally want something different because they're tired of it. And then sometimes you give them that and they don't like it. Like it's just like it's very hard as a band because yeah, like you do something that people like, and then if you do something different, there's definitely no guarantee they're gonna like that other style.
right,
You gotta hope that like that they kind of just like are drawn to your band as a whole and just kind of the essence of your band. And if you change things, they'll still feel that essence. That's what the Deftones does well, is like even though it is different in different eras, it's still Chino and it's still the Deftones. So like
yeah.
that's always the goal, is like even if it's way different, it still sounds like us. And and
But
that's
I think the authenticity of being unapologetically yourselves and doing what suits you
mhm,
is that's what draws me to a band, right?
yep,
Because I mean, I'm sure you would agree that oftentimes if you listen to an artist that is making music to make money and versus the, create what they really want to create, you can tell,
yep,
that it's missing that spark, that to me it's like an authentic spark. And I think you all, Drop Dead Gorgeous has done really well with making music that you guys wanted to make. And there's been, there was the evolution from In Vogue, to shit, I'm forgetting the album in '09, so I apologize. But
How's that?
yeah, so um, but there was an evolution that you guys had, and I think that hiatus, the the singles now, it's it's not a slow evolution. You went from this to now you're here.
Yeah,
Are
that's
you ha are you happy with where you are?
yeah. I mean, we're always like, we're going to record 5 new songs, so after being gone for 15 years, your first round of songs is like, we're so excited and we're proud of what the songs we made, but we're really excited to get back in there and just like, we're like back in it again. So it's like, we feel like the next batch is going to be even better.
Yeah,
Um, so you know, it's just, it's really hard to like, to try, if, a lot of people like our band because of authenticity, all these different things, and they see like new music that we come out with after 15 years, and to them, for some fans, it's kind of like shocking to them because there's a pretty big difference, and there's a lot more to it than just like, oh, we decided to completely change our sound and reinvent ourselves. It's like we discussed before, you grow musically, you grow in life. My voice isn't exactly the same as it was when I was 18 either,
right.
so there's those factors, but there's also the way music is recorded nowadays is just different. It would be very difficult to record if we like re-recorded In Vogue, for instance, or something. Besides the fact that my voice is naturally going to sound different because I'm 20 years older, just the recording process, it wouldn't sound the same.
Right.
So
No, yeah, not at all.
there's some of that I think people forget about. It's just music was recorded so much differently 15 years ago than it is now, and electronic music production in the heavy genre has like grown exponentially since 15 years ago. It's very prevalent. And so, when you're coming back, you're trying to like stay true to yourself, but also push boundaries and experiment and like, you want to be somewhat current after being gone for 15 years. So there's a little bit of that. But you don't want to fall into the trap of like, let's sound like every other band. So, and it's like a double-edged sword no matter what you do after 15 years because some bands will come back after, I don't know, however long, and they come back and they basically do the same thing. They pick up where they left off, and people don't like it, and they're pissed off because they're like, well, this is just the same thing. And it naturally gets compared to obviously their biggest record or whatever it is that they're trying to emulate.
Yeah.
So like that's a trap that I don't think is a good idea to fall into. I mean, like how many Deftones fans, I see it a lot where they're like, man, when are they going to do like White Pony again? And if they did that, that would be a horrible thing to fall into because it's never
100%.
going to be White Pony. It's
Nope.
never going to be White Pony.
No,
Even if
they're a lot
it's like,
more sober now. Like,
right? That's the thing is we're a lot more sober and
yeah,
we have like kids and like we just aren't like I'm not as angsty as I was when I was 18 years old. Nobody is.
right. No,
I don't know
you're
anyone.
very different people, right? And I think that
Mhm.
however much people want to say, oh man, I wish, we could have this again. Like the reality is, especially after 15, 20 years, like like the the change as a person is huge. And I mean, from the creation, like you as a person, you craft that. So different mindset is going to lead to different decisions musically, which creates something, different. I mean, you guys, the songs, these last three singles, I'm excited to hear the next five, I need to say. But
Yeah.
these last three, they're great, well-structured songs. They're a lot, they're so different than what you guys created before.
Yeah.
You know, there's that touch in there's that drop dead gorgeous in there, but they're just different. And I think you guys have obviously matured as songwriters, which really guided those songs. Is there like for you, is there a when you guys go in to write, how different is it for you, I guess, writing then versus now?
So different. Like we used to write all together in a room, like either in the basement in the early days or like in a rehearsal studio. Back in the day, it was like we didn't really do any demoing ourselves. So it was like live practice, rehearsals, going for pre-production, depending on the budget. Like we would spend 2 weeks or a month just jamming them out with the producer. That stuff is unheard of nowadays. Like now it's like we have like a pretty good demo, right off the bat, and we send it back and forth to each other remotely. We don't really get to jam together a lot because we don't live that close. So there's that aspect that is way different. And then, um, yeah, man, it's just the other thing, like the variables of not only are we all different in different places in life and musically, there's also the factor that we haven't all gone the same path. So like our different musical paths have changed too in 15 years. So it's like not even like it'd be one thing if you had all of our band members that all went on kind of the same path and trajectory, but we all went on different trajectories. So when you take those variables and you combine them, I mean, there's so many different possibilities, and I think that's why it does sound a lot different in some ways. And I mean, and 15 years later, I mean, I don't know what someone would expect. So with the new ones, thinking of all those things and like learning from it and figuring out like how we want to kind of take it forward. And, we've obviously grown musically, so we want to like obviously have the drop dead sound in there the best way that we know how to and a way that makes sense for our band in 2026 and finding a way to intertwine it even better potentially. I think that's ultimately the goal is to like kind of bleed them together so that when a fan that's known our band for a long time listens to our new songs, the hope is that they don't really notice those things. They're just like it sounds like Drop Dead, and then if you analyze it, you're like, okay, yeah, I can see the progression. Um, but I think that's the goal with the new ones is that they bleed together better, so that no one's even like analyzing it or noticing it without really thinking about it. They're just like, this is just sounds like Drop Dead, and then oh crap, this actually is Drop Dead in 2026, and it doesn't sound like In Vogue, but it kind of really does. But it also has their new sound, infused into it. That's the goal, and mixing that with modern production and figuring out what works and doesn't work for us is another thing. Like my voice sounds different, just how things are recorded nowadays than they were 15 years ago.
Right.
Like
But
I mean, I can get like a good quality recording. I mean, I produce stuff now, anyways. But like, I can get like a really good quality vocal recording in my bedroom.
it's so
Whereas there's
wild, isn't it?
15 years ago, dude, like there was very few people that could do that, and it would have cost a lot of money. So, um, there's that. It's kind of fighting that. Like you have all the tools like to produce the hell out of it and overproduce it, and you got to fight like as a singer, like your insecurities, like oh, it's not perfect. For me, I'm like, oh, I want to fix it. I want to make it perfect. And then I'm starting to realize it's like people like the imperfection, and I have to really fight my urge to like to perfect it and fix it when honestly the imperfection is the magic.
Yeah.
And it's easy to see that from the outside perspective when it's not your voice or your singing. Like when I listen to like Chino, like it's like it's so it's amazing. Like it's imperfectly perfect, honestly. Like it's just like no one sounds like them for her reason. And if you were to produce the hell out of it, it would sound like everyone else. So it's
Yeah.
like finding that balance between like crazy raw, like we did our second full length Worse Than a Fairy Tale, cool record, but in my opinion, if I could go back, I'd make it less raw. I think we kind of went too far in the raw direction. There's too many imperfections, but I think the balance of some, little imperfections and just kind of like following that vibe, like
Well, it's, in my mind, it's like a live show, right? Like I go to see bands perform because I don't want to listen to the album.
yeah.
I want the imperfections. I want the ad-libbing or a different phrasing in the song because it's really cool to watch bands do that, right? When it's so hard when the band overproduces and everything is like it's smooth, it's so
Mhm.
perfect because I feel like a lot of times you go to see then see that band and it's not perfect. And for the average fan, that could be a letdown.
Yeah.
You know, how many people are actually like analyzing music, you know, and going, "Oh my God, there's, you know, I can't believe that there's all these new like pop elements and man, it really like the way the bass flows through here, you know what I mean?" Like
Yeah.
I, I don't think the everyday listener isn't the person that's gonna analyze it. But
No, they're definitely not.
you know, so what kind of change let my foot off the gas for just a second. What was your like your introduction to music that or I gotta rephrase that. Is there a time that like popped for you and you were like, I'm gonna play music. That's what I'm gonna do.
Um, for me, it was like probably, I mean, I was always liking, like, well, I mean, when I was young, I have to take my parents' word for it, but they were just like, my mom was not surprised that I was going to do music later on in life. I would like drum on like pots and pans kind of thing, or just whatever. And it's karaoke. I had karaoke stuff when I was like 4 until I got older. And I think what it really started to become like, it felt like I just like really, I feel like that's what I needed to do. Like, I needed to like drop everything and focus on that. It was like probably like middle school, like probably eighth grade or something like that, right before high school. Um, and like I started off like my sister was like in the grunge phase. She listened to like 90s rave music and grunge music. So naturally I kind of like heard that stuff because like she had CDs, so I'd throw it in like Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana, Butthole Surfers type of stuff. And then she had the 90s rave stuff. So maybe that's why I kind of liked the synthy stuff when we started Drop Dead. I don't know, but I kind of like in middle school, like ended up kind of getting like in the pop punk thing, believe it or not, like Blink-182's New Found Glories, and then it became like Alkaline Trio, kind of like the more getting more emo and a little darker, and then like I like progressed into like Finch, Static Lullaby, the Used first record, you know, and then I was kind of like that kind of got me into the idea of screaming in a band. Because I definitely don't have, I didn't grow up like as a metalhead or anything. Like I really didn't. When I was younger, I never listened to like Iron Maiden or anything. Like I wasn't really like AC/DC. I listened to them because my mom listened to them, but like, you know, like Drop Dead was like kind of my first metalcore at all. You know, it was the first band I ever screamed in. I was not a screamer. And I kind of just like, I met our guitar player at a show and they're like, we're looking for a screamer. I was like, oh, okay, let me try. And I'd been trying for a while to figure it out. And I was like, I still don't think I had it figured out, but I was like, I'll try it, you know? And they're like, this is cool. And so we kind of just went with it, you know? It's kind of a weird experience. Like I was playing guitar at the time. I wasn't even like singing in a band. So, um,
And look at you now.
yeah, I mean, for me, it wasn't really a band or anything. It was more just like a feeling, like music in general. I just knew like that was going to be the thing in middle school. I was just like, I love playing music and I just could like see myself playing on stage and trying to go on tour and just like that was life for me. I was just like after like that I just wasn't focused on anything else. I was like it was all music for me. I like didn't really pay attention in high school. When we got signed, I just left, you know, got a GED later, who cares, you know? It's like
Yeah.
I just that's the only thing that was on my mind was like I want to tour, I want to, you know, play shows, I want to do the whole thing and yeah, I mean, fortunately for me, I didn't know better. Like I was like, I didn't realize what like really being in a band was really like, and like how like you know you almost have to be at the very tippy top to make any money doing it, or um to have like a comfortable living. Like I didn't think like, oh, what's it like to sleep on a van all the time, or like you know play a show, check into a hotel room after the show, wake up 2 hours later, start driving or whatever it is, you know, and then just like being in a band, you can have your best friends ever, but when you're on tour with them for years at a time, like you're gonna have friction no matter what.
Oh, for sure.
It's like your siblings or something, you know what I mean? It's like you can love them to death, but you're gonna start that friction, and there's all that, and then you have band member changes, and there's all that stuff, and there's so much that goes into being in a band that like people don't really
Think.
understand, especially if they're not musicians. I think like the outside perspective, people are like, "Oh yeah, you're in a band, cool." So you just like are a rock star, and you just like have fun all the time, and like it's
You
just
go
all part.
party in every town and you're like, hmm. Like
Yeah, like there's like groupies ever. It's like no, like I mean, like I don't
yeah.
care what band you are. You've played so many shows in front of 10 to 15 people. It's like,
And those sometimes are considered the good nights. You know,
yeah,
you're like, fuck security and the bartenders here. Okay, give it your all.
yeah.
You know, I
Sometimes those are the fun ones, you know. But it's um it's a really weird thing, and like nowadays it's just technology and everything and social media. I just feel like being in a band. I mean, just having the perspective of 20 years ago versus now, it's like trying to do it. It's like so much is going to change, and you have to evolve like not only your sound but like your approach to like everything. Like if you're a band now, like 5 years from now, it's like what's music going to look like? What's is
well,
TikTok still going to be a thing? Like
especially
it's a
the
lot
way
of
as
fun.
fast as like technology is like moving.
Uh-huh.
You know, I remember I was talking with someone the other day. Like I remember having a little Tascam 4-track recorder in my bedroom on the cassette, and they sounded fucking terrible, but
Yeah,
you
I have
did
one
it.
of those.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm gonna create this thing, and you hear it, and you're like, oh, dude, like I'm creating. That is so awesome. And you look back now, I mean, now, dude, you just shit, you can record on your frickin' phone.
I know. It's like there's not as much gatekeeping anymore, which is good, which is kind of a good, like, it's a good thing if you're an artist. Like, you don't have to be signed. It doesn't matter. If you're talented with TikTok and everything and like technology, you probably get something out there and you know, people will gravitate towards it and you'll get big. When we kind of started, it was getting to that point, but not yet. Like, you couldn't really record in your bedroom and get like drums. You couldn't get drums to sound right. Back in the day, you probably could do just about everything except for drums, and it would sound okay if you knew what you're doing. But yeah, nowadays it's way easier, and yeah, budgets like it doesn't cost nearly as much to record a record anymore, and um,
That's so good, dude. Like, you know, it was always so hard hearing those stories of the bands. Oh, well, they gave us this much money to record this album. I'm trying to think. Maybe it was Metallica. They recorded an album cost them $1 million. And I'm like, all I can think is like, why would you first, why would you spend $1 million to record an album? Like that's gotta be just months in a studio. But
yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on man. We spent over 500,000 on our second record, and it's our worst sounding record. A lot of it came down to the industry that we were in. Somebody writing blank checks, and then a lot of it comes down to how much the producer costs, how much does the engineer costs, and lots of times when there's a lot of money flowing, you know, and somebody's not really paying attention to it, and they're like, "Give me a number," and they give you a crazy high number. Like we didn't really do anything that different. Like I'd say the biggest expense was living expenses in LA, the LA area, and just doing more pre-pro. But the recording process was really no different. Like we booked a you know, Sunset Sound like is a famous studio, drum studio, and we just did drums in there. Um, and the vocals we did at like the Venice Beach like closet studio we had, the producer had, but it's like a lot of it comes down to man when there's a lot of money flowing, and then people just like make up numbers essentially. That's a big part of it. And if you're like a big name or a big producer or a big mixer or whatever it is, it's like you just make a number and you know
that's so wild, dude.
yeah,
Like,
if you're Metallica, I can only imagine. I'm surprised they didn't spend more than that, honestly.
well, and I said I was like thinking about that. I said $1 million for an album, but I don't think so. I think it was $1 million for a video.
That's very possible. I could easily see that. I
And
mean,
I'm
what?
like, it's still like to me, it's fucking mind-boggling. I'm like, oh my God, that's so much fucking money. I don't care who
Yes.
you are.
I know. It's especially for a music video, like I mean, back in that day, and I'm assuming this was like early 90s or something, when
Yeah.
like when like back then as like MTV was like had a monopoly or something. So like I could see putting a lot more money than you would nowadays into a music video, but like nowadays that'd be insane. You wouldn't do that for an album or anything, but let alone a music video. Yeah, that's there's also a lot more money coming into the industry at that point when you had actual album, physical album sales. Like Spotify has like cut every single band's budget, like crazy. Because like unless you're buying a vinyl, you're probably not buying anything. So
I don't know. Today, like it's so weird seeing the amount of people that are buying cassettes and fucking
Yeah,
CDs.
I've seen some cassette stuff, and I guess CDs are kind of coming back, but it's not like the main like revenue. Like it's not like
Right.
every one of your like it used to be if you wanted to listen to the band other than Napster and Kazaa and all those other things, you had to buy our album.
Yep.
Whereas now, like, I mean, you can listen on Spotify for free. You don't even have to have a subscription.
Yep.
And Spotify gives you like it's like 0.003 cents per play or something. It's very small.
Yeah.
And that's like split between the whole band members and your label. It's not even like it goes to the individual. So it's like it's kind of crazy how that's like I
Well,
don't know how bands do it these days. I don't.
well, I think it's funny because the evolution of like the music industry and streaming and all of that, I think bands are starting to see more of they're spending their money to record the album and own the masters and then
Yep.
just licensing the music out, which
Mhm.
is I, I have all so I've preached that for a lot of years. Like don't sell your masters and your publishing to these labels. Keep it. That's where the longevity for an artist is gonna come in. I mean, I Hate God does it. God, so many bands do it, and I'm like blanking on the whole fucking list that I know, but it's awesome to see like artists starting to really take the control back from the labels. Like
Mhm.
the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s labels absolutely, like they had a place. And to your point a little while ago, now it's so easy for an artist to get their music out to the world. Um, it's the click of a button.
Yeah.
So do you then comes the argument, do you really need a label? And if you feel you do, what does that look like for you as a band? It's so the evolution is fucking amazing, you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, a lot of it's like labels for the biggest thing they offer nowadays is the bankroll to
Yeah,
have the money to like because bands usually sign a deal nowadays because they don't have the money to pay for all the recording costs, then do the promotion, then the music video, let alone save enough money to get on the road or whatever that looks like. So the biggest part is the bankroll. And then in some cases, if you depending on the label, it's like they have connections, which can be very helpful. Like nowadays, it's all about Spotify playlisting. So like if you are an independent artist and you don't have the ability to just kind of blow yourself up with TikTok and social media, you need those Spotify playlists. So that's where it kind of gets difficult because you either have to pay someone, you can pay a third party to to pitch your band to those playlists, but that's usually not as effective. They've kind of designed it to be a gatekeeping thing with Spotify. Like I believe Spotify is like owned primarily by major labels, so that's why like New Music Friday is like the biggest playlist. You'll see like all those bands are on major labels, almost all of them. So like they've created a little bit of an illusion. Like you think they've lost control, but they actually still have quite a bit of control on
yeah,
Spotify. There's still Apple Music and other things, but like honestly, the power comes and it was for us too. Like it's we got big on MySpace. That gave us a lot of control and a lot of power. it allowed us to get our first label deal like early on in our career and then a major label deal. So nowadays it's like if you can blow up on socials, that's huge
That was,
because then you don't need it at that point. Like then
right.
it's
Well,
literally just bankroll because you can you can kind of like you can get around the gatekeeping if you have enough buzz on social media because now you're making them money because your song's on their playlist and they're making money.
yeah,
So they're not even doing you a favor at that point, and there's no gatekeeping. But if you're not at that point and you don't have a label, is where it gets tricky to get on those playlists because they get so many thousands a day, and it's like they're going to prioritize labels generally or bands that have a ton of buzz online because like that's just easy. They're going to get more people to their platform if they have a song that like oh they check out their TikTok and it's blowing up. It's like well yeah we're going to throw this on a playlist. So
yeah, it's just so like it's such a different world, you know. Of course, like I said, I'm old, dude. It's I come from a time when, full disclosure, I'll be 50 this year. Um, I come from a time when it was very much you get in the van and you did the thing, and so now the social media and just the accessibility that the internet offers people is it's so different, like I remember the tape trading, and you had to know someone who knows someone so you could get this killer album, and it was it seemed like the community was so like small and tight knit, and now I think for the bands themselves, it's still pretty fucking small. There's only a number of bands that are out there doing it, and you play all the shows together and do all the thing. And if you're not part of that community, you're part of another community, and you're completely clueless to what's going on over here.
yeah.
There's not a lot of like intermingling, which is there's more intermingling, I think, at a local level than there is on a regional or a national level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, there totally is. It's always hard. It's like most bands that get national recognition, they start off locally and they have to build that local fan base. That's like their
Yeah.
platform. Um, and yeah, it's just easier to do, I guess, it's just because you're around more, like it's word of mouth. Your people are seeing you at shows, and that promotion that gets you that platform is completely isolated from the digital social media side and Spotify and other streaming services. So that's kind of how you have to make your name at first, I think, is really hard. Is really hard to get anywhere if you can't get a local base first.
Yeah.
I mean, it's either that or you somehow find a way to do it on TikTok or the internet. But
Should
it's
have.
interesting, like the metal community and the heavy community, like you were saying, like it does seem to be more widespread than it was even in 2006. And when I'm almost 40, so you're a little older than me, but like I'm sure it was even tighter knit when you were younger, and it's like it's somewhat like some aspects of heavy music has been kind of commercialized. I mean,
Yeah.
even in your day there was like the really big like mainstream metal bands, right? That everybody knew, like Pantera or something or Metallica, but like
Yeah.
there were so many small bands that would play like, and by small I mean I'm probably 1,000 people or more a night. Lamb of
Yeah.
God, those type of bands. They're still big, but
Well,
small in
even
like the mainstream perspective, right?
even seeing like Slayer, at fucking the 90s, they were 500 to 1,000 cap rooms, and at that point they were 15, 20 years into their career, and very well established. It's of course, it it's weird watching that transition. Now they're selling out stadiums
Yeah,
when
I was
they
gonna say they
what
could play like a festival now and headline probably, and it'd be like 20,000 or more easily.
oh yeah, I think when they
Probably way
did,
more than that, but
yeah, when they were at Louder Than Life, and I think there was, God, for their set, I would say 60,000 people
yeah,
there.
That sounds about right. And that's so crazy, like there's definitely a bigger audience, it seems. Feels like it.
Yeah.
Like heavy music, I mean, like the silver lining of everything we're talking about is heavy music does seem to have reached a way larger audience because, you don't have to like be engrossed in the scene to get exposed to it like you did back in the day. So now I think what's happening is some people that just don't even ever listen to heavy music, they get exposed to it enough online where it just pops up on their feed and it just like eventually breaks through to them and they're like, so what happened to me is like I never was looking for heavy music. It slowly, very slowly crept into me and then I really got into it and addicted to it. But like I think it's easier for that to happen for people nowadays. So
Well, and I think the other part of it is like watching the evolution like through the live audience is I went to I love I Hate God. Okay. They're like I'll see them every fucking chance that I can. And I'm used to going to their shows and seeing people my age, balding, and that's the entire crowd. And I went to see him a couple months ago in Nashville, and it was, dude, probably 40% of the crowd was like 25 and under. And like, holy shit. And I think I could be wrong, but I think that people my age, of course, our kids are getting to the age. I mean, fuck, dude, my kids are old enough to go to the bars, so it's like, but being introduced into that world, and God, I don't want to bring mental health into it, but I think that there's an aspect of mental health where we're so disconnected now where I've spent all this time on the computer playing games and hearing all this shit that I'm nervous to go outside. I'm a weirdo. And then I go to a show and I'm not the only weirdo.
yeah, it's like a
Everyone,
counterculture type of thing, and like it's very true. Like when I was getting into it, I was in the same spot. Like I got, getting into high school and stuff, I just was like kind of antisocial. I just didn't really want to deal with all the stupid like drama of high school basically. So, and I think a lot of people when I'd go to shows of like that were heavier shows, I realized like, yeah, everybody's like me. Like I'm not the only person. So
yeah.
it's almost like a place to fit in. And yeah, like, yeah, I think heavy music draws in people that are like that. And yeah, I think, yeah, if you're going somewhere to like vent or heal or whatever it is, man, like heavier music is going to probably be your ticket versus going to see like Sabrina Carpenter or whatever. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I like pop music. I'm not knocking it or anything, but they're just different. I think
It's
when you listen to the two, you're kind of listening to it for different things. For me personally, like there's very few pop songs that have ever really like connected with me. Like Michael Jackson or Prince or some bands that like they have real emotion and like that's like the original pop, like the king of pop and stuff. But like modern pop doesn't generally do that for me. And it could just be me, but like
no, it's a very different world, like the pop today versus the pop, way back. Like I, my, so earlier I asked you, what was the time for you where you were just like music?
mhm.
For me, it was Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Dude,
So
he's incredible. Like,
that was my very first concert was Michael Jackson on the Thriller tour.
wow.
Uh, I don't remember the show. I was 6 or 7 or something. I remember leaving there and just being in awe. And I remember everyone was just having such a good time together.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, this is this is what it is to me. This is the sinew that runs through all of us,
Yeah. Yeah,
you
man. I
know?
think I think music in general is just so important in today's world of like, digital everything. Like I think it's one of the last frontiers and opportunities to actually connect with people
Yeah.
in one room together. Like there's not a lot of other things. Like I mean, how long are movie theaters even going to be around? It's just like malls are probably on their way out. Um,
Malls are
People are
def
like they're trending towards isolation essentially. So it's
yeah.
like I think music is the one thing that people can truly enjoy collectively together. If people stay off their phones,
Yeah.
that's kind of a cancer at shows for sure. But
And
you know,
I you know, I agree. I like if I want to live the show, I want to like watch the show and not through my phone. Um, However, I am also that person that's like, okay, I'm gonna get a couple of little like 20 or 30-second clips
yeah,
just so I can be like, okay, post whatever, here it is.
yeah,
They
and
look,
that's totally overlook. I kind of overlooked that. That's totally reasonable because you want to capture it too, and you want to share it and all those things. I think that's all really good. I think if you're like texting the whole time or like
yeah,
scrolling social media, it's like, what exactly are you doing there? But you know,
yeah, thanks for spending your money, but
you can do it after the show.
yeah,
I mean, at that point, you should still be interacting because, like I said, that's probably your one time for the whole week you're around actual people.
yeah,
But
so
yeah,
wild.
I know,
Oh,
man. Like it's a crazy world. Like when we started coming up, it was that phase was just kind of starting, like with the sidekicks and like people are kind of starting to get glued to their like electronics and phones and whatever. But like it was nothing like it is nowadays. Like MySpace was the only thing, and there really wasn't video on MySpace that much. It was mainly just like pictures and stuff and comments or whatever. But I could have never imagined like having a phone with like YouTube on it and like everything.
now, who's your top eight? I don't know. I gotta look, like
It's wild.
so different.
So,
Such a different world. But it's, I think all of it together, it combined, it gets us to where we are today. And this is why I agree. I think it's it's more important now that we connect with others and have conversations outside of our phones and social media because that's what's gonna help us maintain and learn and grow.
yeah.
Oh
Plus, it
shit.
like keeps us away from the algorithms and like
Yeah.
the people just trying to divide us. Honestly, there's so much stuff out there that's just meant to divide people. So when you actually get around other people, people that maybe you probably wouldn't even have a conversation with or be around, you realize like, oh, this person's not like what social media portrays this person to be like, and like we're actually very similar, and like we don't need to be arguing back and forth online about crazy stuff. It's like,
About nothing. Like it's all shit that it's so weird. I think a lot more people are just, politically more in the middle. There are
yep,
things they agree with on both sides,
hmm
but it's the extremists on both sides that you fucking
they're
hear that make
crazy.
the
Like
most noise.
it's hard to like relate with either extreme, to be honest, and that's why yeah, everyone's kind of towards the middle, but all you see on the media is the polarization of both sides because they want you to fight back and forth. It triggers the algorithm. They want people to fight and comment more and more. And like Facebook knows that because it gets more interaction. The sad thing is, it's just how news was before social media. They want people are drawn to trauma, violence, and like bad things more than they are good things. So,
It's what gets us clicks. Yep.
and it's so good. The algorithm has got scary good at that. And it's divided everyone to the point where it's like, how did we even get here, man? Like, like everyone on their screens hates each other. If you actually get them in the same room, they start talking to each other. Like, oh, you're a human being. Like,
Yeah.
why would I say that to you on a screen? Now I'm talking to you face to face, and we're both agreeing on certain things, and like we don't agree on everything. But like, I would never say the things I said online to your face because that's not really.
Who I am either.
There's no empathy there. Like when
Yeah.
you're on the screen, you lose all your empathy and you become this like robotic type of thing, and we're all guilty of it. And so, yeah, man. I mean, that's not necessarily a music conversation, but it's like,
But it's a reality conversation.
yeah.
So, okay, let we're gonna end on this note, a good positive note. What kind of live shows do you guys have planned over the next year?
Let's see. We got Sonic Temple coming up in the end of May. We're doing Warp Tour DC, um, Warp Tour Orlando, and Long Beach. And I believe I don't know the order of it. I think Long Beach and Orlando are in the summer, and DC might be in the winter. I'm not positive. Then we're doing Aftershock, which
Oh, cool.
is this
Right,
fall, doing Aftershock in Sacramento.
right after
Um,
LTL.
yeah, I don't know. I want to say that's all the festivals we have booked. I could be missing one, but one or two. Um, and then I think we're trying to play like some stuff here or there, like Weekend Warrior stuff.
Yeah.
Trying somehow to get over to the East Coast. Everybody keeps telling us like come to the East Coast because we've done the West Coast and kind of the Texas area. So we're trying our best to get over to the East Coast, but we all have, lives and
Lives.
jobs and stuff. So it's hard to make that happen. But we are trying and we're doing new music. So we're recording 5 new songs in April. So we'll have a good chunk of music coming out over the next year or so.
Oh yeah. That's it. Is that exciting for you? It's exciting for me.
Yeah, man, my favorite part is making the music. I love all of this, but making the music is ultimately like my favorite thing to do. Um, until it's finally done, we send it in for mastering, and then it's complete. Like I work so hard until it's like as perfect as it can be, but perfectly imperfect in the right way. So it's like pushing those buttons where you want to, and that's the battle. So
Oh yeah.
that's what I try to do.
Yeah. That's super cool. Well, Stills, I appreciate you allowing me time this afternoon to hang out and chat with you. Uh, I've had a really fucking good time, like getting to know you and talking about the band, which I'm super glad you guys are putting more music out, and I think a lot of your fans are. So hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Awesome. Well, hopefully I get to see you live soon, um, because I need some more live music, like
All right.
now. If we're in the same town, dude, I'll buy you lunch. All right.
Oh, dude, sounds good, man.
Hell yeah. Have a good night, dude.
You too later.
Later.